Yeah, it's what up, guys? I wanted to do a live this morning because I was watching the Trump visit to California with Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom a little bit last night. And I was like, oh, we got to go over this. We got to show this to you guys. Like, this was hilarious. Um, and I think it was how everything was handled from Trump's side was handled very, very well. So give this a share. Right? Get everybody in here. Share. Throw in the comments where you're watching from. I see the comments starting to come in. The views are starting to go up. Good, good, good. Share this out, everybody. We're gonna want to watch everybody's gonna want to watch this, especially what we're gonna start with Mr. Gavin Newsom. So share this out, please. Get everybody in here. Comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Don't need that audio. Excuse me. So yeah, let's go through this. I'm really excited because this is the stuff that we need to be doing. We need to be pushing back when anybody on the left or anybody tries to go against some of the stuff that is perfectly logical, like getting rid of red tape and restrictions so people can rebuild their homes. Like, one of the things that I'm going to have you guys keep track of here, it's going to be keep track of this. How many times does Trump say water? It's really funny. Excuse me. He says water so many times in this 1 hour segment, and I'm going to fast forward through parts of it. So we're not going to watch all of the boring stuff. But we're still watching like a good portion of this because the whole thing, Trump is just reaming into them. Philly area. Good morning, everybody. We are doing an early show today. Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? I'm excited to show you guys. But let's start with Greasy. Who wants to start with Greasy? Did you guys see what Trump did? Total boss move against Greasy when he was getting off the plane. Let's give this a watch. He's standing outside the plane, obviously, waiting. Thank you, Dean. He's just hanging out. Now, see, it's fast forwarding even faster, speeding up time. 10 minutes later, Donald Trump finally exits the plane. He made Gavin Newsom sit there for 10 minutes. I think this is hilarious. And we'll pause this for a second. It was so funny. And Donald Trump would do that. And I guarantee you, Donald Trump was over there by one of the windows looking out, and just so he could laugh at Greasy. Like, it is so funny. And this is a move that, of course, Donald Trump would do. Of course he would. But there's another part to this. Let's get to it here in just a second. Let's see. Right here. Watch the handshake. Right here. They start pulling back and forth. Donald Trump's like, you're not going to bully me. No. Let's go back over that again. Watch the handshake. Donald Trump is not letting Greasy even try to push him around at all. Like, no. And then watch at the end. At the very end, Donald Trump goes bam and just hits him up on the shoulder or arm. Just kind of just sending a message. What up, Chris? Oh my gosh, this is so funny. You watch right here. Excuse me. I think that's so funny. So funny. We're gonna go through and watch this. Gavin Newsom wasn't there. I was kind of annoyed about it last night until I realized Gavin Newsom actually greeted him off the plane. So Gavin must have had something going on, which is cool. Whatever, not the end of the world. Good morning. And so yeah, glad you're here, Rose. And yes, this is hilarious. Hilarious. Yes, please, everybody share this out. Oh my gosh, why did I go grainy already? Oh, okay, now it's going back. All right, we're good. Share this out, everybody. We're gonna go over the interview. Let me go ahead and get that queued up next. Let's go ahead and do that. Get rid of that one there. And we're gonna go over this. I think this was fantastic job by Donald Trump calling out all of the BS in California. For those that don't know, trying to build in California is extremely difficult if you follow the permit process and you pull the proper permits that you are supposed to per the government. There is so many things that you have to go through, and one of the biggest ones when you live in California and on the coast is the Coastal Commission. The Coastal Commission is a nightmare. They get in the way of everything. And then they slow everything down. They don't want you to use certain products. They have so many restrictions. It's insane to work with. Insane. And so in the middle of this, we'll get to it, but Donald Trump calls it out that he's going to override them. He's going to override it. But there's still all of the other concerns of the regulations and all the stupid red tape that we have that we don't need. We shouldn't have any of that stuff. Not at all. We should be able to freely build our house without having the government come and check on everything we do. But we got to hear this because Donald Trump chews out Karen Bass and was like, why? So let's get into it. Let me close out of a couple things here first. And then we're going to morning, David. Morning, Donna. All right. Let's give this a run. Like they're gonna sit down. I kind of fast forwarded it. Well, started off here. You didn't miss anything at the beginning part. Let's hear what Trump says here in just a minute.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. This is an honor to be with you. Unfortunately, it's a very sad period, but what makes you feel good is I met so many of the homeowners, and every one of them, a lot of them, and every one of them said to me they want to rebuild. I said, will you go elsewhere? No. It wasn't even like a question. They love the area. They love the people. It's like a family. It's incredible, actually, when you see some things like that. We just left North Carolina, and we had just a similar type of disaster. It was water instead of fire, but boy, that water did damage.
Water?
Like
there's one
I'd never seen before. And then you come here and you see this. But the people are so amazing, and your fire department was so beautiful. Every one of them is in perfect physical shape. I said, what do you guys do? They have very high standards, I can tell you. And we took pictures with all of them, but very nicely they gave us a little helmet. And I said, you wear this, huh? Is this real? And they said, yeah. I said, it's awfully heavy. You have to be very strong to wear that. But that's the original, right? So it's pretty good. But I just want to thank everybody. We're going to be with you. Your governor met us at the plane, and we had a good talk, very, very positive talk. We have to work together to get this really worked out. I don't think you can realize how rough it is, how devastating it is until you see it. I didn't realize. I mean, I saw a lot of bad things on television, but the extent of it, the size of it, we flew over it in a helicopter. We flew to a few of the areas, and it is devastation. It's incredible. It's really an incineration. Even some of the chimneys came down.
Okay? At least he greeted him.
When you have the chimneys come down, you know that's pretty hot stuff.
All right, let's jump ahead to
were down. That was a bad sign too.
Right.
But I just
right here.
This is a little bit. They say we're going to work very hard with the mayor, the governor, the supervisor, and everybody, and get the resources behind you. We have some amazing people, and we have some amazing fighters for things like this. I also had the concept of getting some of the best developers in the country. I've had so many calls from developers, and they want to come in. They don't want anything. They just want to come in
we
and
just
help,
showed
and they
that.
really
It
know
was
how to get
hilarious.
things done and get things built. I would ask that the local officials, because we're going to essentially waive all
It's good
federal
so far.
permits. We're going to have you
My vote
go
didn't
very
make a
quickly
difference
because a
though,
federal
but
permit can
it is
take
good.
10 years. We're not going to do that. We don't want to take 10 days. I would.
Yeah, that removing the red tape, like that's what needs
So
to
we're
happen.
declaring this a national emergency. By doing that, I can give you immediate permits. I'd ask that the local permitting process be the same. Some of the people were saying they're going to be forced to wait 18 months for their permits. And I don't think you're going to do that. I can't imagine that. So they are literally in a position right now. They'd like to start tonight, and they'll clean their site. They'll do everything. They just want to start.
Morning, Lenny.
And they were very concerned with the 18 months. So I'm sure you can get it down to, I would say, not even 18 days. They are ready, Mayor. They are ready to start. I met so many of them. The fire took place. It's nice and cool there now, and they want to start taking the debris. They want to take the debris. They want to do everything. They'll get rid of everything. They're going to do it by their own hand. And you're going to see some amazing things happen. So we're waiving the federal permits. Either waive them or give them to you so rapidly it's going to be essentially the same thing, but we're going to try and just waive them. And we'll rely on the local, but the local, I hope, is going to do the same exact thing. They're literally ready to start right away tonight. So if you could do almost the same thing or the same thing would be great. For a building permit, you're going to have to, check things out a little bit. A lot of them, every single one of them said they're going to rebuild. I didn't have one person say they're selling or they're leaving or they're disgusted. They love their community, and it's incredible. We even had one from your neck of the woods, right? Do you want to stand up? It was so nice the way she greeted my wife in a very different language, right? And it was very nice to see. And you're staying and you're going to rebuild and everything else. Yeah, everybody. So it's really great. So I'm signing an executive order to open up the pumps and valves in the north. We want to get that water pouring down here as quickly as possible and let hundreds of millions of gallons of water flow down into Southern California. And that'll be a big benefit to you. If you don't want it, you're going to tell me, but I can't imagine it. I tell you who does like it is the fire department. When I said that, they were very happy with that.
Right.
They didn't mind hearing that. But we have a lot of water that is available. And I hope you can work that out among yourselves. But I think this will show that we have to have that water. We have to have that water. You're talking about unlimited water coming up from the Pacific Northwest, even coming up from parts of Canada. And it pours down naturally. It has for a million years. It pours down.
We're going to jump
never
ahead to the questions.
So you have that coming. And then we have the 250 years coming up.
He just
which is
talked
going to
about
be
all of the celebrations.
a great celebration. But I'll never forget when I got the Olympics and then I was president when I got them. I said, oh boy, it's too bad I won't be president. Who knew this was going to happen, right? I said, I won't be president because it would have been 4 years.
Going to hear that story.
And in fact, I'd be retired by 4 days right now, I guess, right? So anyway, I got him, and at least I'll be able to celebrate the Olympics, the World Cup, and the 250 years is going to be a very big deal. So
if you haven't seen this game, a little bit later they get into this.
It was an honor to get.
It's
if you
hilarious.
have any questions, please let me know. And if you have a statement to make,
Agreed.
I'd love to have politically, if you'd like to make a statement. Brad, go ahead.
Mr. President.
Okay, I'll do
Mr. President, thank you
Sure,
for coming
thank you, Brad.
to the 32nd Congressional District and
Thank you.
making most people don't have adequate insurance because they couldn't get it.
This guy is
One
special.
company dropped 1,600 policies just in the last 6 months. We've got 16 times as much property damage here as from Hawaii. And I'm hoping that we get at least 16 times the federal appropriation for the CDBG program that helps people rebuild. And I know you've talked about policies of California that you're not a fan of. But I've been in Congress for 28 years. I really
actually just share a
disagree
mic.
with Louisiana on
People
their
going around
abortion
the internet
policy.
saying it was taken
I
from her
disagree
is
with them
not
on their
true.
campaign finance
see it.
policy. I disagree with North Dakota on their gun policy. And I would never turn to somebody from Louisiana and say, you keep living on your cousin's couch, because we're not going to help you rebuild until Louisiana agrees with me on a woman's right to choose. So I'm hoping that we can get these funds and that we don't punish individuals for the policies of their state. You can disagree with them, and I think you've got some ideas. I look forward to us listening. Also,
Mr.
on
President.
tariffs, I often agree with you on tariffs, but how about no tariffs on building materials for the next 3 years?
Well, we'll take a look at that, actually.
Mr.
We'll take a
President,
look. Mayor, please.
yes. First of all, let me just take
Okay,
the opportunity.
here's where it's gonna get good, guys. Everybody share this out one more time. Let's get everybody in here. It's gonna get good. Karen Bass, this is the mayor here. If you don't recognize her, this is the mayor of LA. She gets owned, but she first tries to sweeten everything up, and Trump kind of lets her do it, but he shuts her down. This is going to be hilarious.
Opportunity to officially welcome you to Los Angeles. Really appreciate you coming, and especially you come just a few days after your inauguration. So
Thank you.
I want you to know that your presence here is very much appreciated. Let me also say that I know you had an opportunity to see the devastation. You've seen the extreme loss, the grief that people are going through here. And we are 100% committed to getting this neighborhood rebuilt again. You mentioned a couple of things in terms of us expediting. So I signed executive directives right away so that we could cut the red tape. We could get people back building as fast as possible. And we're going to continue doing that.
Yeah, the one thing is they are saying they will not be allowed to start for 18 months.
No, that will not be the case.
Okay, I just hope
That
you're
will
right.
not, you can hold me to it.
Because 4 groups said that.
No,
That would be, they should
No,
be able
that-
to do it. They should be able to start tonight.
that
Yes.
will not be the case. You know, first we have to take care of, to make
Safety.
sure that there's not getting rid of the hazardous waste.
See, this is the thing. Like, I'm going to pause it for a minute. Hazardous waste. And they keep saying all of this stuff of it's for safety. We need to get rid of the hazardous waste. All of this stupid garbage. This is what California wants to do is they want to bring in their friends, pay their friends to come in and clean it up, pay them millions and millions of dollars to do this project because that's how these politicians work. That's how all politicians work. They want to benefit their friends. They don't want to take care of Americans and allow Americans to start cleaning up their lots to where they can start rebuilding. They don't want to let them do that. They want to, oh, everything's got to go through us and you got to pay us some money and we're going to have that all go to our friends. That is what these evil politicians do. And now pay attention to how she phrases these things. Like, listen to this.
Cleaning things up so that people can start right away. And just like you said, if somebody had their house was destroyed and they're going to rebuild essentially the same, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit higher, they really shouldn't have to go through much of a process. So I want you to know that we are expediting that. We absolutely need your help. We need the federal help. You're a
You got it.
builder.
I told you. You will have no permit problem. There will be 0 delay. And as far as I'm concerned, you already have the permits.
And the resource.
I am more worried because I met at least 8 groups of homeowners, and I'm much more worried about the fact that they said it's 18 months exactly.
Call it out.
And they were devastated. They want to start now. They want to start removing things. They're not allowed to do it now. And you mentioned hazardous waste. Well, the hazardous waste. What's hazardous waste? I mean, you're going to have to define that. We're going to go through a whole series of questions on determining what's hazardous.
Nope.
I just think you have to allow the people to go on their site and start the process tonight.
Get her, Trump.
And we will.
Okay, good.
You can come back and check.
Very
Mr.
important.
President,
Yes.
I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and I represent the areas of Altadena and Pasadena.
Yes.
That's the Eaton fire. And there is a world of hurt there. I know that you've gone to the Palisades and you've seen the devastation,
Right.
but it's apocalyptic in Altadena. And thank goodness I have a partner with Supervisor Catherine Barger in working to help people get back to normal and to rebuild. But right now they have nothing. And there have been 9,500 structures burned. Most of the deaths have occurred in our
We're going
area
to jump ahead
with the Eaton fire.
to 24.
Could purchase homes. It was redlined. And so you've got a lot of generational wealth there. And one of the
Here's where
commitments
we're going to
I've
be start
made,
talking about the Coastal
and
Commission.
we've had meetings with some of you people in HUD that you've got there now, to work with them, work with your administration to see how we can help. And I've been pleasantly surprised. I know on HUD we've got some asks that we are going to be working with you on. But more importantly, I just really want to emphasize what Congresswoman Chu said, and that is that these are individuals who are feeling forgotten. And what I tell them is, and when we
By their
invited you
local
out here,
government.
I told, when I went to the AME church, this president was talking to you when he was running. You understand the difficulty in making ends meet. You understand the high cost of living. And now their biggest fear is that that's going to impact their ability to rebuild. And I have made them this commitment, because this is my last term, that for the next 4 years, you talk about 18 months. I've told our county staff that if you're going to get in the way, then get another job, because we are an all hands on deck. And quite frankly, if the bureaucracy can't get out of the way, we'll just roll over it. And we've said that, and we've made it clear. The governor's waived CEQA, which I feel should be completely reformed, if not eliminated. And if it's being eliminated for this,
How are they doing with CEQA?
how are they doing?
How
with
is it? What's been the attitude of the people running that whole situation?
it adds sometimes years on to an application.
Can't do it. Can't.
No, and the governor's
And
waived,
Coastal Commission also.
he waived that.
We're going to have to override the Coastal Commission, because
Right.
I've dealt with the Coastal Commission for a long time, and they are
suck.
considered the most difficult in the entire country. And we cannot have them play their games and wait 10 years to give somebody a permit.
No
in
one
fact,
should have
I'm
to
going to
go through that.
override the Coastal Commission. I'm not
Yes.
going to let them get away with their antics.
Well,
Okay.
Yes. So to give you guys an idea, like the Coastal Commission is a disaster. Like when you have to work with them, they try to regulate everything for just conserve the coast and protect the coast. Like, no, idiots, there was a house here. There was just a house here. I'm building me a new house in the footprint of my old house. Like, I'm building one. Get out of my way. My house just burnt down due to my government's negligence. Literally, that is what these people are going through. Trump is trying to tell Karen Bass right here, trying to tell her, hey, let them go do stuff tonight. Like, let them get started right away. And then in a little bit, she answers the question and she says, oh, they can probably do it in about a week. Like, this is where things get insane. The Coastal Commission, all of the red tape that she is claiming she removed, they're still going to be in the way. They're still going to be in the way because those organizations get lots of money. And so they don't want those organizations to stop getting money. So they're just going to find a way to funnel it through them. But you can hear out of Karen Bass's mouth that she doesn't really care what the people are talking, what the people want. People behind the camera here, there are actual citizens. And over here, it looks like behind them on the side, right here. Well, behind them onto the left, you can't see my cursor right there, but the entire thing is just insane when it comes to California. And she keeps making excuses and saying, well, this or hazardous waste. Like, so frustrating. Yeah. Trump shuts it down. Well, David, they're both up for re-election in 2026. That's probably the best option. Trying to recall them, they always end up winning. Like Gavin Newsom survived like 2 recalls, 2 or 3, and still is governor. Like, it's horrible. But here, let's go through this.
Thank you, David.
Mr. President, I just want to thank you for your leadership on California water policy. You made it a priority from day one. For those of us in the Central Valley and Northern California, we have catastrophic wildfires as well. California is a wildfire-prone area, so ensuring reliable, stable water supplies is critical. And so your leadership, your executive order, moving more water, maximizing flows throughout the state of California, building more water storage, more conveyance, coordinating the.
It would have a great impact on, I know your area very well. It would have an unbelievable impact on your area.
Absolutely. We just want to thank you for making it a priority.
You know, even beyond the fire stuff, the farms. I was driving up with congressmen a few years ago because they were complaining they had no water. And I was driving up and you'll see all of this incredible land, but it's absolutely bone dry. And then you'll see little green patches, and the green patches are so beautiful. You know, they have that land. They say it's as good as Iowa farmland, but it has no water. And it's artificial.
No water.
It has no water. They send the water out into the Pacific Ocean. And when we let that water come through your valleys and down to Los Angeles and everything, you're going to have a different place. It's going to be a whole different place. And you guys have to get together and say, gee, we want it. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So at least you said that, and I appreciate it. Because your farmers will be able to, instead of having 1 acre out of 100, which is all they have, they'll be able to have 100 acres out of 100. And it's among the best. They say it's the best farmland just about in the country, as good as any place there is. So, but you can't, it's no good without water. So that's beyond the fire stuff. But today we're talking about fire, but it's good for everything. So I hope you can lead a group. And Daryl, if you can lead a group, I know how you feel. And, you know, support what I'm doing, because what I'm doing, I guess, is controversial. I don't know what's controversial about sending millions and millions of gallons of beautiful fresh water from the Pacific Northwest and further up than even that into an area that's bone dry. We have to, you know, I have a house in Beverly Hills, and you get notices every once in a while. They want you to go down to 38 gallons per person or something, per house, per person. I say, you mean you can only have, 38 gallons sounds like a lot. It's not a lot. And they want to do that every once in a while. And you just think it's ridiculous when you have like just about as much water as anybody in the country. And we shouldn't be in a position where you have tumbleweed
You're next
that's
to
dry
the
as a
ocean.
bone. That even tumbleweed can be nice and green and rich and loaded up with water, and it's not going to burn. You don't even have to remove it. It's not going to burn, but it's just dry. So I hope you can all get together and say, I'm so happy with the water that's going to be flowing down, because I just don't see anything. They talk about the Delta smelt, which is a fish that's this big, but it is really not, doesn't have to be protected because it's in other areas. It's in numerous other areas. So it doesn't have to be protected. The people of California have to be protected.
Yes. Pat.
Mr. President.
And this is where it's going to start getting heavy, guys.
Mr. President, could I just speak for a moment?
Kevin Kiley, California.
Yes.
First of all, you're absolutely right about the Coastal Commission. I've introduced legislation to rein them in. We've been talking with Rick about this.
They're out of control.
Absolutely out of control. It's insane the things they've been getting away
I
with.
think they thrive on it, actually, if you want to know the truth. It's so ridiculous.
No,
That's right.
I haven't
They
seen
even
one
tried to
either.
stop SpaceX from launching rockets. It's just,
It's true.
But you mentioned your predecessor and how he didn't fix the situation, which is absolutely right. Not only that, during the Calder fire, which was a few years ago, which was in my district, 600 people lost their homes in a town called Grizzly Flat. He came and he promised that he would help them out, but he broke that promise many times. He never delivered them the individual assistance they were asking for. So this has underscored for me the importance of helping the victims, making sure in this situation, in every fire, we get money to the victims and we make sure that, that nothing stands in the way of that. But I just want to thank you for your focus on bringing sanity to California, water and fire policy. There's no place that needs a revolution in common sense quite like California.
You have so much
I
water.
agree.
Use it and be happy
Yes.
about it.
Mr.
Be
President,
happy.
Mr. President, my name is Joel Pollack, and I am a
This is
journalist
pretty
with
good.
Breitbart News, but
Joel
I happen
Pollack
to
did
live
well.
in the Pacific Palisades,
Pollock.
as do other colleagues. One colleague, John Kahn, wrote the song Fighter, which you played at your campaign rallies. He lost his house and the studio he wrote that song in. We were lucky because I was able to fight the fire on my fence. But when I got to my house, there was no water in the pipes. So I got inside and I picked up the flower vases because I give my wife flowers every week, and there was water there, and we started with that. Then I found my son's bucket of baseballs, and I dumped the baseballs on the ground, and I used a bucket. But there was still no water except for the water in the gutter coming from the burnt homes uphill. So I went to and fro to my gutter and my fence with my bucket. 2 guys showed up in a truck, 2 neighbors. We found 2 more buckets, bucket after bucket after bucket. Many of my neighbors, including some here, tried to fight the fires. They couldn't. We were lucky our house was saved. But we should not have to rely on buckets to put out a fire.
That's right.
You can't stop an 80-mile-per-hour wind or 100-mile-per-hour wind, but there were many things that went wrong here that are basic and small. We did not have traffic police to guide the evacuation, so there was gridlock on Sunset. They've removed the vehicles now, but there were dozens of vehicles that were abandoned by drivers who fled for their lives because there were no traffic cops available. The fire department wasn't pre-deployed, even though there was an extreme wind event coming. And many of my neighbors lost their fire insurance in the days before the blaze.
And remember, Karen Bass cut budgets for the fire department, restrained them on the water, also supported the ordinances that Donald Trump said he even got when he was in Beverly Hills. She is the problem. We should have had fire departments deployed well before this wind ever came. Well before. This is a leadership issue. This is what's so great about this is Donald Trump calls it out in her face and she sits there and smiles and claps for all of the right things, but she is the problem. So Californians, specifically LA people, you have to remove her. Have to. She is up for re-election in 2026. That is probably your best avenue to address this. But we have if you want things to get back to normal and you don't have to spend years and years to be building a home, you got to start electing people that represent you and care about you, not a little fish and the Coastal Commission. That is a huge issue. And there is so much garbage going around in California around this crap. And Gavin Newsom is also just as much responsible for this because Donald Trump calls it out here in a little bit. I told you to do this 7 years ago and you still didn't do it. And look what we're having to talk about right now. You didn't do it. If you would have done it, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Well, Rose, she still smiles through this whole thing. And it's like it doesn't even hit her that she made these mistakes. Trump turned CA red. Yeah, I honestly think this visit is just another nail in the coffin for those two. But let's go back to it.
So I asked my neighbors, what would they want to know if I could ask the president a question? And the number one thing was insurance. Can you work with the insurance companies to get people back to where they were before they lost the coverage because of California's regulations? And can you make California change its rules so that when we build again, we can get fire insurance and we don't have to worry? And there's one other point I want to make. I really appreciate my congressman advocating for money. We need the money from the federal government. But I also understand Americans who are tired of spending money on California and disasters happen, and the California government passes $50 million to oppose your policies. So they have $50 million for that, but not for moving people into rental homes or helping people relocate or rebuild. I would like to ask you to follow the 9/11 Commission precedent and appoint a special master to watch the money.
Yes.
To make sure that every federal dollar that gets spent here is spent on fire relief and rebuilding and not on everything else.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Good idea. Here's a good one right over here. I don't know if you, do we all like
He's
Rick?
very
He was
busy.
ambassador to Germany. He was fantastic. Angela Merkel's happiest day ever in her history, and she had a long history, was the day I removed him from there and put him in charge of a very high level of intelligence and intelligent people, but they were not intelligent enough to fool him. But Rick Grinnell has been fantastic, and he lives here. And I don't know if you want to either think about it or recommend some people, or get together and recommend some people as a group, which is fine. But Rick would be somebody that I would certainly consider. And Breitbart is fantastic, by the way. Congratulations on that. And I was so impressed with the firefighters I met before. And they said that, I asked them how many of the pumps, how many of the hydrants were working. And it was a, large percentage of them were not working at all. They had no water. And the ones that did have water didn't have a lot of pressure. And one of the things that was missing, many of you have sprinklers over your living room and your bathroom and your kitchen. I mean, if those sprinklers worked with some pressure, you would have had a much different outcome. So we're going to work on that. I think in terms of that, Rick Grinnell would be good, or Rick, you'll head up a group of people that would recommend a few people to me, maybe a commission, set up a commission. I like it because we're talking about a lot of money. The other one is Kelly Loeffler is now the head of small.
See, this is the business side on why I want a businessman running the country. He knows how to delegate and designate people to do things. And this is the exact situation. He says it later. He's like, I'm going to designate this person to be involved because he knows he's going to be too busy to be involved himself. And so he delegates that to somebody that he trusts and says, do this. Let's see this happen. This is what businessmen do. They work well with the people around them, and they have people that are always in their corner that they can trust, and then they can just pull up and say, I need you to step in and take this on. This is why you want a businessman involved in running this country. Now, does it always have to be the president? No. But when you have a businessman running things like this, shit gets done. Because in private industry, things work a hell of a lot better than it is under the government. The government is awful. Awful. They can't get anything done efficiently. Not at all. Like even today, still under Trump, look at the confirmations for all of the cabinet positions. Some ridiculous garbage. They got to go onto the floor and debate. They got to do all of this stuff, and then they can vote. It is never efficient with government in anything. But Donald Trump's like, we are getting out of your way. You can build your home. And then Karen Bass, here in just a minute, you're going to hear it. Karen Bass is going to be like, well, you're going to maybe get to see, start working on things in 7 days a week. Like, it's pathetic.
Small business, and small business is big business. It's actually one of the biggest banks in the world. We call it the Small Business Administration. And she's a cabinet member, full cabinet member. She's fantastic. Her husband is the head of the New York Stock Exchange, so they know something about money and other exchanges, actually. Fantastic people. And she wants to come here almost immediately after she gets approved. She wants to come here and open up small business to the area because they have a lot of money. I always say the small business is actually a very big business when you add it all up. And she's going to come here, and it's a very important thing. I want to thank also the First Lady because she wanted to come here. She wanted to be here. She has so many friends, and she also wanted to see North Carolina because that was another disaster that was so bad, so different, but so bad. And she just wanted to go there. We said, we're going to stop at one, and then we're going to the other. In many respects, it was a depressing day, but in many respects, it was a beautiful day because the spirit is so incredible. North Carolina and here, very, very similar situation. Different, so different and yet so similar, actually. And so I just thought it was very nice. You wanted to be here, and we appreciate that.
Nicole Shanahan, is that who you're thinking of?
Jay.
So you can't really hear the citizens in the back asking questions. You can't really hear them. So it's kind of awkward, but Trump does a good job at explaining, responding, and you kind of get a gist of the question. So here in just a minute, they're going to finish. But This is where it gets good. Because
Is that local? You got to. I don't want to be the only one to give you permits like in one day, and then I find out that the cities, the towns, and the state is not going to give you permits. And the problem with permits, it only takes one. You might need 7 different permits. You shouldn't have any at this
Right.
point. You should just let them build.
No permits.
And you're only as good as the weakest one. So if you have one that's going to hold you up, but the others are going to give it to you in 24 hours, it's not going to help you very much. So they have to work on that. It's what everybody said.
Well, and let me just tell you
Here it
that
comes.
we are going to do everything we can, slashing regulations, expediting everything so that people can begin the process right away. We have the Disaster Recovery Center on Pico and Westwood. We have building and safety there. People are already contacting the local agencies. We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next. We want them all to be in the same room so that you can get busy rebuilding ASAP. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And we will clear the lots. Absolutely.
Here it goes,
In the
right
city
now.
and in the county. We are working together. Both levels of government are working in unity.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yes.
Say it.
6 months is no
Exactly.
good.
Exactly.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can. But we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in.
We want you to be safe. Safe. We want you to be safe. We can't let you do this because we want to sell it to my friend down the street that has a contracting business that will come in with their demolition crew and be able to wipe everything out for you. And we'll be able to send them millions and millions of tax dollars. That's what Karen Bass is saying. She wants to do this. They're not working together because you're going to find out in just 2 seconds. Donald Trump saying 6 months is too long. This is too long. We need to start now. Like right now. It needs to start right now. Like there's no delay. And Karen Bass says, here she goes.
In your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their
Right
own
here.
debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can.
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family.
People are willing
want-
to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can
There's
do
not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours. And that's
Big
what
fact.
he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract.
If
That's going to
individuals
charge him
want to build-
$25,000 to do his lot. I think you have emergency powers just like I do. And I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked,
signed
I
an
mean, you have a
emergency
very powerful
declaration.
emergency power, and you
Yes.
can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
What?
That's a
She said immediately how many times? How many times did she say immediately? We are going to get this going immediately. No, this is not immediately. We're going to let you in to where you can clean up your own lot in a week. And she doesn't even give you a confident answer in that because she doesn't know what the F she is doing. And she doesn't give a crap about any citizens in LA that had their house burned down. She does not give a crap at all. She is a horrible politician and a horrible mayor. Horrible. Because Donald Trump's calling it out. You have powers. You have powers. Use them. Use them. And then she's finding just reason to not use them so she can pay her friends and her special interests And that's where she wants to help. She doesn't want to help the people of LA. She wants to help her friends.
A long time a week. I'll be honest. To
Here,
me,
we're going to roll back because
$1,000. And you have a
Emergency
very powerful
declaration.
emergency power, and you
Yes.
can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important
week
thing
is
is
a
for
long
people to
time.
be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit, and the permit's going to take them. Everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
You said 18 months.
That was last night.
And that was last night.
On that. Right.
What was the first time?
Mr. President, we're going to be together next week, and
All right, let me look
during
up
the
the next
interim, many of
timestamp
us
here.
are involved in, and Tom McClintock,
We're
who
at
you know
40.
has been an expert on this for years.
That's right.
We are going to
We're gonna
be
jump ahead a
putting
little bit here.
conditions on the money that do two things: require that it be done timely and affordable, and then secondly,
get these men and women home as soon as possible.
Actually, we want to hear
Acre
her.
feet out of 600,000.
That reservoir's been empty for a long time.
Yep.
It shouldn't have been empty. Okay. Any other
Thank you.
questions? Yeah,
This
please.
lady.
Mr. President, my name is Tracy Park. I represent the people of the Pacific Palisades on the LA City Council. I wanted to thank you for your loyal support to our military, our police officers, and especially our firefighters.
Thank you. very much. Thank you.
My top priority going forward is to get these men and women home as soon as possible and open up the pathway to begin their rebuilding process. It was the Army Corps of Engineers who announced last night that it would be 18 months. I am fully committed to doing my part on the ground with our state agencies and our city
Good.
and our county partners to speed this up.
Good.
I just ask for your ongoing partnership with FEMA and the EPA and our other federal agencies to make
A ball
sure
small.
that we have a commitment across all layers of government to get these people back home. Thank you, sir.
I do. Thank you very much. It's well said. I do have to say FEMA is a big disappointment.
Facts.
We had it working well. We had great people, but
Yeah.
FEMA's not good anymore. What FEMA did in
It's
North
always
Carolina,
sucked.
you know, they still haven't even gone to certain areas. They don't know what they're doing. And I say, you don't need FEMA. You need a good state government. And when
You need a good state government. He calls it out right in front of her. Good state government. This is the new Donald Trump. This is not Donald Trump of 2016. Donald Trump of 2016 would have let her run this and her say whatever and him sit back, because businessmen will do that. They will let other people lead their areas and then just kind of observe, watch how it happens. He did that the first term. Now he's like, we are not doing this anymore. I am not going. If I disagree with you, it's going to come out on the table right here in front of you, in your face, and you have to grin and bear it in front of everybody. And he is embarrassing her. Everybody, all of government involved in California should be embarrassed by this, for pretending there is such thing as a good state government. Valid, but you do need good elected officials locally to help you in these scenarios. If you don't, they're only going to help their special interests. Always.
you have a problem in Los Angeles, or when you have a problem even in the state of California, you have your own, essentially FEMA, you fix it yourself. You don't have somebody coming in from a state where they have no idea, like Florida. They come in from hurricanes. They have people staying in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And now they see, oh, this is very nice. but by the time they get familiar with it, they don't know anything. The FEMA is a very expensive, in my opinion, mostly failed situation. We had great people. We did some
It
great
failed a
jobs,
long
but
time ago.
each state should take care of their problem and get money from the federal government. It would be so much better, so much more efficient. So we're looking at
I
that.
agree with that.
Because we have had, and you're going to have problems with FEMA too. You've already had problems with FEMA. FEMA doesn't even show
Oh,
up.
100%, Chris.
It takes weeks before they even show up.
100%.
And what happens is the state then relies on FEMA and nobody does anything because FEMA doesn't show up. So it's not a good situation. So we'll make some recommendations on that. But you have to push like hell to get the permits because I'm just hearing things that
It is.
I don't like to hear. I think you're not going to get your permits as fast as people are saying. We
Called
have
her
to
out.
get them. And Mayor, if I can help you at all in that regard, you'll let me know. But you're going to have all your federal permits. That's going to be the easy part, which, by the way, is by far the hardest part. You know who controls your water is Department of Commerce, and I already have that approval. And that's usually a very long process, but that's the hard part was the federal, but we already have that done. So anything I can do, please let me know. Please go ahead.
This part, I'll kind of explain a little bit. This guy is posing questions because multiple schools have burned down. And I assume he's asking, like, how is this going to come back? Because you're talking elementary, junior high, and high school, I believe. And
You lost all your schools. You lost four. You lost your four schools.
So
were they completely burned down, the schools? Wow. All of them? All of them?
Yes.
No, you can't. No.
That's right.
Coming up, this is going to be funny.
Well, I'm going to ask Rick to set, I think right from this table, you might put a couple of the fire guys back there on that I just met, okay? Because they're really good. But get a group and figure out how we can do the processing faster.
Mr.
Good.
President, if I can just defend FEMA
Right
a little bit.
Yeah.
They brought thousands of people in. I don't know how they're doing in other states. They're doing a good job for us here.
Never.
They've got a huge center that's open from 9 in the morning till 8 at night. But also, when you have a disaster this size, you need to be able to deploy thousands of people, which they've been able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, California, if we did it on our own, maybe we'd have thousands of people.
You do.
But if Rhode Island
them,
has
Trump.
a Palisades disaster, are they then supposed to keep?
How many
thousands-
people do you have in California? 36? How many? How many
Close-
million?
close to
How
40
many million people do you have?
But
You have 40 million people. You're not going to get a few thousand people. The problem with FEMA is they come from all over the country. They end up in arguments with your people from California because they want to do it a totally different way. And
they're getting.
I can live either way, but you haven't gotten very much done with FEMA and all you have to do is look at North Carolina. It's one of the great disasters of all time.
And Mr. President, you can't have Rhode Island maintain a staff of thousands and thousands of people waiting to see if they have a disaster.
You know who came in and fixed North Carolina or the process? Other states, people from all over the country came. And you have the same thing. You have a lot of people from all over the country. Getting the people is not a problem. Getting the organization's a big problem. FEMA's incompetently run, and it costs about 3 times more than it should cost.
I'm hoping
we
that
can
you
spend
get a
money
better
on
run.
schools instead of giving money to bureaucracy. It takes you so much longer.
Get them.
Mr. President, I
takes you so much longer
for helping our people.
FEMA has a standard, Brad, and I'm a builder. I was a very good builder. FEMA has a standard that's so slow. They want permit on permit on permit, and then they want permits on top of that. If you use FEMA, you'll be here for a long time. What I'm saying is get the city, get the state to give you immediate 24-hour permits. These people are going to build their own homes. They're going to get them built fast. How many of the people, could I ask you one question? How many of the people what are people going to do for financing? What are people going to do? How many people can build a home, a percentage-wise, like where they don't have to go out and get funds? Some people are just not going to be able to rebuild their home because they have a beautiful home, but they don't have cash,
Exactly.
right? So what are people looking to do in that case? You're going to have a big percentage, I would assume, Brad, like that. What are they going to do? Go ahead.
Mr. President, without your help, they're only going to get $43,000 from the federal government, even if they have a half
Well,
million dollar
you did
uninsured
something,
loss.
Brad, where every insurance company in the country left California. That's why you have no insurance, because you made it so impossible. People that think like you made it so impossible. And
Brad, me,
every
Mr.
insurance
President,
company.
I don't know what
I'll tell you
know
this,
about my thinking.
I've never seen a state where almost nobody has insurance. And I said, what happened? And they said like 6 months ago, they all left. And 2 years ago, they had different, quadrants, but they left. And you have very little insurance here. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
We had a lot of insurance companies pull out, but I have no
and
idea.
the insurance companies actually have been warning you. Now, I'm not a big fan of insurance companies. Okay, they have their big drawbacks too, but the insurance company, I read the papers very well, and they've been warning California for a long time. They've also been saying we want water. You don't have water. You're supposed to get fire insurance, and the insurance company goes, you don't have any water in your fire hydrants. So it's a tough situation. I'm not a big fan of insurance companies. I get that.
They're pulling out of
But
Florida
Brad,
as
you
well.
lost your insurance company 6 months ago because the state wouldn't give them what they had to have.
Big facts.
And Mr. President, I remember the
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
I'm Ed Ring from the California Policy Center, and in the matter of prevention of fires, in the matter of the cost of rebuilding, both of which affect insurance rates, I think one, to support something one of the other participants said, a reform you might consider, and it could be an act of Congress, is that the losers in environmentalist lawsuits pays the legal fees.
I bet
think that
it
would
will
be
go way
a
up.
big step in the right direction.
Losers of a lawsuit should pay all the fees.
Oh, you mean loser pays? I love
Loser
that. Well,
pays.
if you did loser pays, you could cut your courts in you could cut them down about 90%. Loser pays. You know what would also benefit? Medical. If you had loser pays for medical, your medical costs would go down by 50%. That's an interesting thing. I bring that up, but the only problem, the strongest lobby in the world, you know what it is?
Lawyers.
The lawyer lobby. So when you go back to your local congressman, hello, congressman, how about
we abolish
going
property
against the
taxes?
lawyers for a little while? No, loser pay is, very good. In Europe, they use it in certain parts of Europe, and they have very little litigations, right? Yes, please.
Mr. President, I represent the 27th Congressional District, which is on the north side of the North San Fernando Valley through Santa Clarita and Lancaster and Palmdale. I just wanted to tell you a story of heroism. Yesterday, we had another big fire. We had several big fires across, and this fire was moving fast. It was moving 1,000 feet per minute. But what these heroes did, the firefighters and the sheriffs and the law enforcement officials, they mobilized 4,000 people within about 6 hours. They mobilized 20 air attack aircraft and helicopters, and they saved the city of Castaic. And so I just wanted to ask you to join us in recognizing those amazing heroes.
I love that.
Well done. Well done.
I think the thing that we all, and I'm very encouraged by your words, we're all here to help the folks here.
Yep,
right?
That's right.
And your words about building quickly, building well, but building quickly is what I think we are all here to do. And I think if we can take that spirit out of today, it is really important that you and your wife are here. If we can take that spirit, we're going to help these people as quickly as possible, get them back on their feet, and recreate these amazing communities that we have here.
You'll take the word spirit, such a great word, such an important word. You'll take their guts away. You'll take their spirit away if you don't give them the permits. You're going to take their guts. They're going to say, all of a sudden they'll start looking for houses, and your whole thing is going to blow up on you. These people want to get going. This place can go quickly, but you don't want to take their spirit away, and that will take their spirit away. So you're 100% right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Another question you can't really hear.
They offer you 2% interest on that money. The treasuries are 4%.
Right.
They're expecting the net margin on the back.
That's right.
Could you please just have me talk to the CEO of Bank of America?
Oh, you noticed that. Oh, look at this guy. He studies that. No, Bank of America, they're not nice. Sounds very nice. The Bank of America, they're not nice.
Banks to pay us treasury for the money that the insurance set aside.
Well, we're doing numbers on banks. Yeah, we're doing it. Is that Leonard Boxer?
Hard to hear? You
What?
can't hear me?
Huh? We have Leonard. There's Skip. I have them all here.
Oh,
huh?
you're talking about the
Look at Skip. I haven't seen you in a
person
long
asked the
time.
question.
You
Yeah,
used
we
to be a
can't.
very good golfer. You still a good golfer?
Trump
Huh?
talks to him.
And he's a good
friend
guy
for
too.
a
Hi,
second.
Skip.
But there's one more
You got them all, huh?
tussle in here.
Leonard, Skip.
I got you.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, I just wanted to say Paradise is coming back because of the help that you gave us. And we really want to thank you for that. And that's why we're here also, is because we want to help our
We did a
brothers
good
and
job
sisters.
with Paradise, didn't we? What a fire that was.
It was a terrible
We've
fire.
had many people were found, and only the certain type of German Shepherd could even find it, right? You could not tell. The dog would go right up. There's the body. And the incineration was so horrible.
It
So
was
horrible.
terrible. And when we see the same devastation.
So Paradise is going good, right?
It's going good. We're coming back.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's because
good.
of the help, and we want to help our brothers and sisters here in LA to come back too. And I know that's what you're going to do. And so we really appreciate that. But from Paradise to the Palisades, the problem is fuel. It's the fuel, the vegetation, the dry grasses, the chaparral. There's a tremendous amount of it, and we're
You
not.
got to remove it. You got to remove it. And you got to remove it, and you got to do the other things that we've said 10 times. I mean, you got to remove it. You just can't have it. I see it even now. I saw the fire. We flew over it, and you got a lot of dry stuff. It's bone dry.
And the environmental.
And I predicted this 7 years ago. I said, do it, get it done. And everybody laughed. They thought it was, I said, forest management. They thought it was such a funny term. Ha ha ha, that's so funny. Now it's not funny anymore. We were right.
It's number one cause of these fires. Number one cause.
You wouldn't have any fires.
Right. And if we just remove those environmental regulations, NEPA, CEQA at the state level, they get in the way of us doing those projects.
It's all a con job. You know that, right? It's all,
Berry
it's all a big
Creek,
con
the
job.
town of Berry Creek in my district.
Yeah.
CEQA stopped them from doing a fuel reduction project. They said 18 months. That's where 18 months comes from, because at least 18 months on a CEQA review. That community is no longer here today because of the North Complex fire. We didn't build that project. We need to make sure that never happens again. We have to stop those things from happening. So
A lot of places
we don't
do.
have.
It will happen here
Palisades.
unless you're very strong as a group of people and demand that you have the right to go onto your property and start the process immediately, like tomorrow. How many people did I see on your street where they're standing in front of their lot? The house there's really not much demolition. It's incinerated, right? So it's not like a lot of stuff. It's not like you have 3 stories worth of concrete. It's all incinerated. And all of the people were standing there and they weren't allowed to even go onto their lot. You got to let them do. If you can do that, you're going to see this thing go like wildfire. And if you don't, you're going to have those lots for years, because people are going to leave. They're going to, as much as you love your location and your place, and you're in the real estate business, as much as you love your location and your site, your housing sites, they're going to leave. They're going to leave. They're going to find other things. They're not going to put up with it. They have spirit now, but in a year from now, they won't have spirit if you don't let them go. So just harness it. Well, I think, look, I'm going to give you everything you want. I'm going to give you more than any president would have ever given you. If most presidents wouldn't be here, number one, they certainly wouldn't be here after 3 days. They would not be here. I can tell you that. And we're going to override all of permitting. The only thing you have to do is get your state people, which should be very easy, because that's literally so easy to do. And I know the mayor, and I know she's working very hard, but she's got very powerful emergency. It's called an emergency petition, and you can petition very quickly. And I just hope you can give them, because it's very rare that the federal government would be ahead of the state government, because the federal government, the federal permits are much tougher. But you essentially already have your permits. You can just go and go wild. Brad, as soon as you can get those permits, whatever you can do, if you can put that genius of yours to work on getting a permit, you'll be doing much better than some of the other things you've said. Okay. But we do appreciate you. So, Mayor, could I just leave you with that? It's a big permitting deal. We're going to be back, and I'm going to put Rick in charge of just representing me for a period of time until we figure out exactly who we want to do it, whether we want a commission or an individual. You know, if you have a good individual, if you have a really good individual, and they are rare, but if you have a really good individual, it's always better than a commission, because a commission gets bogged down a little bit, Daryl, right? So it's if you had the right individual, and I know we do. We have a lot of great individuals in this community, but it's an honor to be with you. It was an honor to be with your firemen before and your policemen. We met some great people. And
all right, he's going to wrap it up, but I'm going to show you. See, the microphone's back. Like, there's so many people running around saying they took the microphone away. Those two were sharing the microphone. It was going back and forth. Like, don't make something into what it's not. They were sharing one microphone. But the part that is hilarious about this is, I told you, like at the very beginning of this, you just see that she has to grin and bear everything. You just see her just having to take it because Donald Trump is calling her out in her face, like straight to her face, and telling her constituents, your representative, your mayor, it can do this. Your mayor can do all of these things. She's choosing not to. And that is exactly what wouldn't have happened in 2016. We need to start doing this everywhere. Just start calling out all of the garbage that's happening. All of it. Because this garbage is unnecessary. And we really don't. I'm going to be a little blurry for a minute because it's going to get caught up. There we go. It looks like it's coming back right now. But what Donald Trump said, everything Donald Trump said was right. 100% right. Everything that they're running into as problems in California is because of them, because of the local government. They're trying to do things to take care of their special interests, not the citizens. And Trump called it out to their face and said they should be able to do it. Yeah, see, it's blurry again. Give me a second, guys. My internet's going up and down today. That sucks. But when it comes to the government is so awful and so corrupt. It is nice to hear a president call it out. I don't know if we could ever say that we have had a president really start doing this in any recent time. I don't remember seeing any president call people out like this. Come on, internet. I want my internet to come back. Like, why is it having a problem all of a sudden? That's really annoying. Sorry, guys, for it being blurry. You just don't have to see my ugly mug, I guess. But all in all, this 1 hour session of Donald Trump calling out the mayor and the leadership of the government of California and saying, you guys can do better, and telling the citizens, just do it. But I loved Chris's idea, and this is what really should happen. And really, that's what should happen. Civil disobedience. Us Americans have to learn to utilize that more. We have to learn to do more civil disobedience. Don't ask for forgiveness. Just go and do it. Yeah, the government's a pain in the butt. Yeah, there will be some punishments. But for California, I'd say, get out of my way. I'm going to go start working on my house. I'm not waiting for the government to tell me it's okay. It's safe. It's safe. How many times did she say they wanted to do it and make sure it was safe? It's not for safe. They use that excuse during COVID. We're not scared of stuff. Hazardous waste. Like, come on. It's a fire. Yeah. It's China and you don't. Yeah, whatever. But all in all, I just wanted to go over that with you guys. It was hilarious watching that last night. I thought it was funny. Yeah. Uncivil disobedience. All right. I get it, Mr. ANCAP. But that's what I wanted to share with you. FYI, Donald Trump's going to be live from Vegas today. I think it's at 12:30 Vegas time, which is Pacific time. So that would be 3:30 Eastern. We'll see how that goes. I may cover it. We're going to see. I got some stuff I'm going to be doing today, but be on the lookout for that because we're going to see what he has to say. I assume he's going to be talking about the no tax on tips stuff. But he originally said he's going to Nevada to thank the people for voting red this time and voting for him. So we'll see how that goes down later. Do it, Joseph. Do it, Joseph. Excuse me. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. Internet's not coming back. Stupid piece of garbage. And he's still on the ground there. He hasn't left California yet. Interesting. Well, it's not even an hour flight from California to Vegas, I'm sure. I'm sure it's really short from LA to Vegas. But I'm going to sign off here because my internet sucks and this is bothering me. But you guys all have a great weekend. Be on the lookout for more lives today. I'll probably go live a couple more times, maybe this afternoon when Trump talks in Vegas. But we will talk to you guys later. See ya.